Hey guys, it's Elisa Ace, a spiritual medium connecting you to your family, friends, and pets in spirit. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how you can help the pets that you still have that are grieving the pet that just crossed over recently. So the first thing I want to say is breathe. You're going to get through this. And also to not let people make you feel like, oh, it's just a pet. It's just an animal. Why are you making such a big deal? Absolutely not. This is a loss of a loved one. As a matter of fact, there are studies out that show that it's just as hard, if not harder, to lose a pet than it is to lose a person. So give yourself the extra love and time and space to heal, because this is a big deal, what you're going through. So when it comes to your pets that you still have, they don't necessarily understand the concept of death unless they were able to see the body of your pet that crossed. This is a personal decision, but if you do have the opportunity to show your current living pets the body of the pet while they are currently dying or after they have crossed over and you still have their body, I personally think, and again, this is just a personal decision, but I personally think it's a good idea to allow them to see and to smell that pet that has crossed over or that's in the process of crossing over, because pets definitely do understand death in the way of smell. So if they were not able to, and that's okay, but if they were not able to, then they might just think that the pet is gone and that they don't understand that. And so a lot of anxiety and grief can come with that. And so it's really important that we take extra steps to help them through this process. So the first thing that you can do is to give them a reassurance. So this looks like many different things. So extra attention for one, extra love, extra cuddles, extra kisses. Now I don't mean hovering, smothering, going overboard. That's not going to help, especially in the beginning stages of their grief. You do need to give them, their space and allow them to process this huge change in their life. So you want to pay attention to how they're reacting to the extra attention that you're giving them. If they seem to, be enjoying it and it seems to be helping them, then keep it where it's at. And if you can tell they're turning away from you, trying to run away from you, then let them be, give them some space. But overall, you do want to try to give them some extra love, extra kisses and cuddles, maybe allow them to get away with some extra stuff that maybe they weren't allowed to before. So the first example that comes to my mind is maybe allowing them to sleep on the bed if they weren't allowed to before. If that's something that you're completely against, then consider alternatives. I had a client, a mediumship client, who her husband built an extension at the end of their bed so that their dog could still be up there with them, but not right next to them on their bed. And then they sell these kind of beds that can clip on sort of to the side of your bed, so they're kind of hanging off the side. I'm forgetting what they're called, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Or you could make one yourself, or just buy one. So that's just one example of maybe letting them get away with something that they weren't allowed to get away with before. So another form of extra love besides extra attention is maybe longer walks, more playtime with them, or longer playtime with them, maybe more exercise. So maybe trying out a new park, or just taking them for rides in your car, especially if they're like a senior pet and they can't do walks so much anymore. It's very enriching for them just to be in the car with the windows rolled down a little bit, and they're feeling the breeze, smelling all the smells. Take them for a ride around your neighborhood, 10 minutes, just anything extra to distract them and keep their mind off of the fact that their buddy, their brother, their sister is gone. Getting them a new toy is also another option. And then also giving them a variety of toys, cycling through different types of toys so that they don't get bored. And then obviously pay attention to which one that they like more. Playing high vibrational, calming, soothing music, especially if you have to leave the house, because they may have a little bit of, separation anxiety while they go through this process of grieving the loss of their buddy or brother or sister. And that grieving can look like, less appetite, sleeping more, signs of depression, pacing, making noises that they don't normally make. So howling, whining, whimpering, lethargy, possibly even soiling in the house. So please be, extra patient and extra gentle with them. There might be behavioral changes. If you have several pets and not just one left, then there might be a huge change in their hierarchy. So again, just have extra patience and understanding for them as your remaining pets establish, the new hierarchy in your house. Another thing that's important is keeping your routine, because the predictability is going to help them. So keeping feeding times at the same time, playtime at the same time, going for the walk at the same time, whatever time of day you usually change the cat's litter box. Keeping as much routine as possible is going to help them with their stress levels. So another thing you can do, but this is going to be experimental, is you can put blankets, toys, articles that have the scent of the pet that crossed over. You can kind of keep those things, put them near the current pets, especially blankets, pillows, that kind of thing, so that they still can smell. But you want to pay close attention to whether you think that is helping your pet or not, because it may help them to feel a little more comfortable to be able to smell their buddy, or it may make them more sad. So you really want to pay attention while you're experimenting with that. But another thing that you can do is put your articles of clothing, unwashed pieces of your clothing, put where they usually lay, so on the couch or on the floor, so that they're constantly smelling you. That's also going to help with their stress levels. Another thing that you can do is give them extra treats, healthy treats. And then when I mentioned giving them reassurance, you don't want to go overboard, like I said, and you don't want to be dramatic. So you are not up in their face saying, "You poor baby, oh, you poor baby, you lost your brother," that kind of thing. No. You want to come more from as much as possible when you're around them, especially when you're addressing them directly. You want to be as positive and uplifting sounding as possible. So everything's going to be okay. I'm here for you. Mommy's here for you. I love you. It's okay. So you're raising the tone of your voice to be more uplifting, because unfortunately pets do absorb some of our emotional state. You are synced in with your pet. So they are going to absorb, the energy that's in the house, and they're going to absorb some of your emotional state. So obviously you need to grieve. Like I said, this is a huge thing that's happening in your life, but as much as you can when you're close to them, try to be more positive and supportive as if they were a child. So if you had a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old child who lost their sibling, you're not going to grab them and start sobbing and, saying, you're going to be more positive. Like, it's baby, we're going to get through this. It's okay, baby. Mommy's here for you. So it's kind of similar in that sense. So maybe don't grab your pet, squeeze them as you're sobbing. Try not to transfer all of your pain and grief and trauma onto your pet, because they are sensitive to that as well. I'm not saying don't have cuddles and extra cuddles. I'm not saying that at all. Absolutely. Like I said earlier, give them extra love, extra cuddles. Just keep their grief and emotional state in mind as well. Hey guys, it's Elisa, post-production. Real quick, I forgot to say something very important. So another thing that you can do is you can try to communicate with the higher self of your living pet. And so you're basically talking to your pet through your mind. Of course, you can talk to your pet out loud to reassure them as well, but you can also talk to them in your mind. It's essentially telepathy, which is basically how I communicate with pets in spirit and pets that are alive. Mediumship and animal communication essentially is telepathy. And I know you're probably saying like, well, I'm not a medium. Yeah, but you are synced in with your pet. You guys are locked in through love, the highest vibration in the universe. So it can't hurt to try it. So in your mind, talk to the higher self of your current living pet and reassure them that way. Let them know that the pet that is gone is okay. He's in spirit with other loved ones. You guys will see each other again. He's more than okay. He's around you, those kinds of things. So it definitely doesn't hurt to try. So don't underestimate your ability as a spirit who happens to still be in a physical body to be able to communicate with your living pet, because you guys are tapped in and tuned in together vibrationally, emotionally, and spiritually. Another thing that you can get and try out and see how it works is called a synthetic calming pheromone diffuser. So this is a plug-in device that puts out a continuous odorless man-made copy of animal pheromones, which signal safety and security to your pets to reduce stress and anxiety. It's supposedly drug-free, toxic-free, non-sedating. So this, I don't think that this would be something long-term. But for a case like this, especially with a pet who is showing signs of stress, of anxiety, of grief, maybe have it for a month, 2 months, but definitely take it day by day and see how it's working for them. Or you can just buy it for like a 1-day use. So like on 4th of July, if they get stressed out with fireworks, or let's see, what's thunder and lightning. If your pets get scared, you could use it on that day. Or if you're moving or rearranging furniture, so you can use it for single day type circumstances. You're remodeling the house and that stresses out your anxious dog or cat. But you could use it for a little longer term, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, for a pet that's grieving. So what this diffuser releases is a pheromone called F3 for the cat. So you can get one in particular for cats, and then there's a different one for dogs. So the F3 facial pheromone for cats, it releases the pheromone that they naturally release when they rub their face, on furniture. It's also the same pheromone that mothers release to their kittens. So it relaxes them and it helps with stress. And then for the dogs, the pheromone is called DAP. And again, it's a copy of the pheromone that mother dogs release to their puppies. So there's several products. Definitely do your own research. Definitely read the product information. But some of the products are called Feliway, Feliway. There's another one called Comfort Zone, and those are 2 for cats. And then one for dogs is called Adaptil. So ADAPTIL, and then there are several other brands too. Those are just a few of the brands that I found. But there are a few warnings, I guess you could say. So like most oils, they have to have like a carrier oil. So this one has a paraffin oil carrier, non-toxic to people and pets, but can cause mild allergic reactions in highly sensitive people. So headache, sore throat, minor eye irritation, especially if you're using it in a small, non-ventilated room. So you definitely want to use it in a well-ventilated room. And you definitely don't want to use it in the same room if you have any kind of aquarium. So fish or pet birds, you don't want to do that. And also maybe not a great idea if you for any pets that already have some standing respiratory issues. So, and you definitely want to make sure that they don't get a hold of the little liquid container that you plug in. Like it'll probably come with like an extra container. Make sure they don't get a hold of that, because it is dangerous in the concentrated little vial, the liquid, that is dangerous. So again, if you have fish, birds, that kind of thing, plug it into a different room, and whatever room your cat, dog is in mostly. If that works out. If it doesn't work out, like if your bird or your aquarium is in the same room that your dog or cat is always in, especially if the room is smaller and not ventilated great, then maybe this is not the best option for you. But if you're able to plug this diffuser into a different room where you don't have birds or fish, because the vapor, is that the right word? That, the pheromones, because it has the carrier oil, it will put out like oil particles that settle on the surface of the water on your aquarium, or in the, near the cage that your bird is in. Also, do not use any faulty outlets. So this is different than traditional plug-in air fresheners or essential oils, which can be very harmful to pets. Things like tea tree oil, eucalyptus, citrus, because those contain volatile organic compounds that lack the metabolic enzymes in the liver to break down safely, making them highly dangerous to pets. So this pheromone thing it's different. It's different. They're natural biochemicals recognized in your pet's brain that do not require absorption into the bloodstream. So they are safe, but again, well ventilated, and don't put around fish or birds. And just do your research. So this may really help if it's a fit for your household. So like I mentioned before, in addition to more reassurance, more attention, more love, more affection, we want to also do more mental stimulation. So like I said, extra walks. You can also get those, they're like puzzle feeders. So you put the food and they kind of have to work to get it. You can maybe brush your cat more, and you can start a new clicker reward system. So you can maybe try to teach them, new little tricks using a clicker. That's a lot of good stimulation for their brain. If you have a cat, make sure for sure that your cat has one, if not two or three different things to scratch, because in nature, cats scratch things outside, trees, everything, because it helps them release their stress hormones. So it's important that you have something for your cats to scratch. And like I said, variety of toys. You can get them a cat tree, put it in front of the window. There are those beds that kind of hang off the windowsill so that they can stare out the window. Just give them plenty of stimulation. You can play YouTube videos. They're like 8 hours long and they're just birds, and then you could buy a bird feeder as well. If you have any kind of patio or backyard, so that your bird can sit and watch the birds eating out of the bird feeder for hours. That's a lot of good stimulation that will help them cope with this new change of no longer having their, brother or sister. So another thing that you can do is, if it's a fit for you and your household and where you are in your life, is, potentially adopting a new pet. However, I do want to say, most pet behavior specialists say to not rush this, give them some time. But if it's, and their grief can take anywhere from a few weeks to a few months usually. But if a lot of time has gone by and they really seem to be struggling still, then you might want to consider adopting. And if it's a dog, maybe you can allow them to help you pick out the new dog. So if it's kind of a shelter where, there's a play yard and you can kind of test them out together to see how the chemistry is. But again, it's not something that you want to rush, because if you lost somebody and then a week later somebody brought a new person and said, here, I got you a replacement person, you wouldn't like that. So let's not rush this. But after a little time has gone by and it is a fit for you financially, and it's a fit for your household to have another pet, then it can be a great way to bring back, a new brother or sister for your remaining pet. However, we have to remember that we can't expect miracles. Your pets are complex beings just like we are, so we can only do our best. All of these, enrichment and stimulation and all of these things are good for your pets, regardless if they're grieving or not. It's a really good thing to make sure that your pets are stimulated and have good routine and have things to do and have things to keep their mind on, and so that they're not bored. But especially when they're going through a big change like this, it's a really great thing to do. Another thing that you could do for senior dogs who can't really go on walks anymore, is maybe pull them in a wagon just around the block or something. It may not seem like a big deal to you, but it's a huge deal to them to be able to feel the sun on their skin and to see people walking back and forth on the street, to see other dogs, to smell all the smells in your neighborhood. It's stimulation. And then if you have a cat, depending on their temperament, you could get a cat stroller where it's completely enclosed so they would be safe and not get out of the stroller. That could be a new form of stimulation for your cat. So I want to remind you that right now this feels like your world is crumbling, because this honestly is one of the hardest things that you will ever go through, losing a pet. Like, I'm going to go with top 2 hardest things that you will ever go through. That's my personal opinion. And the more that you make your self-care a priority, the better for your pets as well, because again, they're going to feel what you're feeling. So definitely allow yourself to grieve, allow your pets to grieve. But the more that you focus on love and healing with you and your pets, the easier it's going to be for both of you. But remember, this takes time, and time does heal. I know it doesn't feel like that right now, but I promise you, I've been through this many, many times, and time does eventually heal. You will always, always, always miss your pet in spirit, of course. If I look at my pet's pictures, I will still cry, and they've been gone 10 years. I'll still cry if I look at their picture. So you'll always miss your pet. But it won't be anything like that first week, that first month, that first 6 months. Time does heal. So this is just part of being alive, dealing with loss. It just comes with being alive. We're going to lose people. We're going to lose pets. I tell my clients, like, the day we decide to get a pet is the same day that we decide to sign up for getting our hearts broken. I mean, that's just what comes with it. But in the end, it is worth it. You really need to focus more, as much as possible. Focus on all the days that you had with them, all the days, all the months, all the years of unconditional love, of cuddles, of laughs, how funny they are. They would always make you laugh. They were always there for you. The companionship, the love. Those are the memories, the trips, the going to the park, going to the river, going to the beach. These are the things that you want to focus on, because your pet, there is no such thing as death. Death is just walking through a door to a different frequency. Their experience goes on. I have many other videos that go in depth on that subject. So you can go to my playlist tab and then click on my playlist called Pets in Spirit. And I have several videos on healing from pet loss and connecting to your pets in spirit. You know, that's absolutely something that you can do. So those are other videos that you can go watch on my channel. Also, be sure to follow me on my Facebook mediumship page. I post a lot of spiritual and mediumship content over there that I don't post on this page. For example, all the time I'm making posts about the specific evidence that pets in spirit give me in my pet readings. And I include in those posts pictures of the evidence that my clients send to me, and pictures of the pets as well. And so people seem to get a lot of value out of those posts, because it just reminds people constantly that your pets in spirit are okay. They are with you, and they know everything that's going on in your life. And you can see that. You can see the proof of that in my posts on my Facebook mediumship page. That will be linked in the top of the comments down below in my pinned comment. That's also the page that you can private message me on if you would like to book a reading with me to connect to a person or pet in spirit. My readings are done over video call, Facebook Messenger video call. So we'll be looking at each other during the reading. So yeah, I think that about covers it. I hope that this helps you. If you need to go back and watch part of this video again and write it all down, that's totally fine. I do have several upcoming videos surrounding the subject of pets in spirit, pet loss, and all of this kind of thing as well. One of my next videos is going to be on making a pet altar. So be sure to subscribe. Please hit the bell notification. For some reason, if you don't hit the bell notification, YouTube just doesn't show you my channel ever again. So hit the bell. Please give my video a like if you got value from it, and leave me a comment down below. That really helps my channel. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.